Too independent for radio and not handsome enough for TV, it's the Walt Bonetti Podcast.
Welcome to episode 40 of the Walt Bonetti Podcast for March 8th. The Walt Bonetti Podcast is brought to you by the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. You can dine in or call them 469-4999 and they'll have your order ready for pickup, or they will deliver to your home or your office, or you can order online at orderitalianpie.com. On today's podcast, the Girl Scouts award abortion, a Mississippi paramedic sexually harasses patients, a Louisiana congressman may be our dumbass of the month, and 2 crime stories for your weekend entertainment involving guinea pigs and Waffle House, but not together. But first, these quick hits. U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy told a Monroe newspaper that he will seek re-election in 2020. Cassidy said he will formally announce his candidacy after Louisiana's fall elections. Really? This is news? Now, it would be news if he wasn't seeking re-election. Anytime a one-term politician doesn't seek re-election, it's news. Even if you're a sexual predator, like Michael, don't call me Mike, Yenny. Have our newspapers gotten so devoid of content and writers and real news that NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, needs to link to a Monroe newspaper article about Bill Cassidy running for re-election and calls it news? Really? Sad. After a video went viral of a JPSO deputy slapping a cell phone out of a man's hand and giving the man the middle finger at a Metairie parade, Sheriff Joe Lopinto called the action, quote, unprofessional. Quote, I'm not happy about it, Lopinto said. There's no way to justify that. It was unprofessional. JPSO is currently investigating the incident. Look, I know things get a little heated at parades when you don't get the right throws and you don't get the right beads. You know, you don't get the special throws at the Metairie parades. And maybe you've had a little too much to drink. But still, I'm not justifying this man or the actions of the deputy. But let's keep it together, all right? We had enough nonsense a few years ago with Keith Conley when he was a JPSO deputy and involved in another cover-up. But at least this time he didn't try to kill tens of thousands of people in Harahan and River Ridge. The Girl Scouts of Southern Arizona gave their highest award, the Gold Award, to a girl for her volunteer work on reproductive health justice, code words for abortion. The girl told a Tucson publication that she's, quote, planning on hosting an event to educate people and destigmatize access to women's health care. Now, where did she learn something like that? And why are the Girl Scouts celebrating it? Look, I love Girl Scout cookies. I mean, everybody does. And you want to support the little girls. But this is not what we want our children to learn and celebrate at Girl Scouts. At least I don't. I mean, thank God, I don't have a little girl. But the good news is, if I did have a little girl, at least she would be safe from sexual deviant predators like Mike Yenny. Speaking of sexual deviance, a South Mississippi paramedic is facing multiple lawsuits after he was alleged to have sexually abused patients in the back of an ambulance. Some of the victims include a pregnant woman who miscarried days later, a 65-year-old woman, and 2 women suffering from mental health problems. 6 lawsuits have been filed against James Lavelle Wally of Leakesville. He was arrested last October and charged with sexual battery, and now the civil suits are flying against him and the ambulance company. The Senate Judiciary Committee voted along party lines 12-10 to approve Louisiana Associate Supreme Court Judge Greg Guidry's nomination for a federal judgeship. Now the entire Senate will vote on Guidry's appointment to the U.S. District Court in New Orleans. It is truly sad when petty party politics enter into things that shouldn't be partisan. I've known Judge Guidry for over a dozen years. Now, we're not best friends, but I do know enough about him and his character to know that he's a fair judge, and that's what should matter. It's sad when that isn't enough for some people. This isn't Donald Trump against America or Donald Trump against Democrats. This is about a judge, and a fair judge getting promoted to a higher judgeship. And that's what we as American people should want. We should want fair judges. Keep the politics out of it. Keep the nonsense away. And now this. It's Friday. And if you're Catholic like me, you already know that you can't eat meat on Friday during Lent. Now, normally I don't eat meat on Friday anyway. But that's me. I'm old school about some things. But if you want to eat some great seafood, think about the original Italian Pie of Kenner. That's right. The original Italian Pie of Kenner has seafood and non-meat dishes, like incredible stuffed mushrooms, stuffed with crab meat. Or, you know it, the seafood stuffed ravioli. You gotta love that. Seafood stuffed ravioli. Little raviolis stuffed with crab meat and shrimp and cheese, and then covered in a spicy cream sauce, and then topped with even more shrimp. Come on now. That doesn't sound great to you? I eat it all the time. I love the seafood stuffed ravioli at the original Italian Pie of Kenner. And they also have other things like seafood lasagna, or you can get a veggie pizza, or a veggie wrap, or a veggie sandwich. How about a sandwich with mushrooms and artichokes? Sounds good to me. I know where I'll be eating today. At the original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, or you can call them 469-4999 and they'll have your order ready for pickup, or they will even bring it to your home or your office. Or you can order online at orderitalianpie.com. Just because it's Friday, that doesn't mean you can't eat some great food at the original Italian Pie of Kenner.
In a land of gods and monsters, one man possesses the strength to defy them both.
Walt Bonetti.
Welcome back. Thanks again for spending part of your day with the podcast. Our big story is also our dumbass of the day, and he's a repeat offender. No, not Jefferson Parish Councilman Mark Spears, who is also a repeat offender. And no, it's not Jefferson Parish's sexual predator-in-chief, Michael, don't call me Mike, Yenny, who could be our dumbass every day until he's booted out of office. No, today's dumbass is the person called a, quote, candidate for dumbest Republican in Congress by the Daily Cause, and a continued embarrassment to the state of Louisiana.
Now, the Walt Bonetti Podcast Dumbass of the Day.
That's right. Today's dumbass is Acadiana Congressman Clay Higgins. During a hearing of the House Immigration and Homeland Security Committee, Higgins compared illegal immigrants coming over our Mexican border to American troops that were part of the D-Day invasion that began the liberation of France from Nazi Germany. Here is Congressman Clay Higgins in all his dumbass glory.
It does not make sense to me why this has become a partisan issue since President Trump's election. Physical barriers, technology, enhanced capacity to respond, they work. This does not mean the current crisis does not exist. Let me just put this in context for the American people. Perhaps the most famous invasion in the history of the world, D-Day. 73,000 American troops landed in the D-Day invasion. We have 76,103, according to my numbers, apprehensions along our southern border last month. We have D-Day every month on our southern border.
The congressman went on to add that no one wants to separate families. What? Please put things into context for us poor, illiterate American people, Congressman Higgins. How does illegal immigrants compare to the thousands of U.S. and British troops that lost their lives on the beaches of Normandy? How? Our troops died trying to liberate France. Who are the illegal immigrants trying to liberate us from? Our jobs? Our economy? And, as the Daily Cause points out, Congressman Higgins discussing his experience as a cop is also laughable. If you listen to this podcast, or you've heard my radio program, or you've read my blog, or you've heard me speak, you know that I celebrate police officers. I celebrate all first responders. I rarely criticize police officers, but Clay Higgins was a bad cop. Clay Higgins resigned from the Opelousas PD after he was suspended for using unnecessary force and giving false statements during an investigation. That is not a good cop, or the definition of a good cop. Now, I do agree that this shouldn't be a partisan issue. I've been known to make some pretty unusual analogies, which at times anyway, made perfect sense to me. But for comparing illegal immigrants apprehended at the Mexican border to U.S. troops dying on D-Day, and for attempting to put things into context for us poor illiterate Americans, Congressman Clay Higgins is our dumbass of the day. He could be the dumbass of the month, but the month is still young. There's still time, Michael. Don't call me Mike Annie. Come on, you can do it. A homeowner was arrested yesterday in Gulfport after police who were investigating a burglary in a trailer park smelled a foul odor. Inside the foul-smelling trailer, police found over 100 guinea pigs kept in deplorable conditions. They also found canine skeletal remains on the property. The unidentified female homeowner was charged with animal cruelty and not having a permit for the amount of animals in her possession. 100 guinea pigs in a trailer. Man, I have 2 cats, and that's more than enough for me. And I have a house, but 100 guinea pigs in a trailer. That's unbelievable. A man posing as an employee is in jail after stealing $300 from a New Orleans Waffle House. 26-year-old Tryon Hamburg, yes, that's his real name, walked into the restaurant, put on a uniform, and started working, taking orders and cooking food, although he wasn't an employee. What kind of devious, dastardly, criminal mastermind do you have to walk into a Waffle House, put on a uniform, start working, taking orders, cooking, and stealing money? Man, what a plot! I'm sure they'll be making a movie about that one day. Or it'll be in the Times-Picayune. Or maybe it already was. Well, that puts a wrap on today's podcast and for the week. Hey, it was a short week, but sometimes you have to have those. Make sure you support our sponsor, the Original Italian Pie of Kenner. They're located at 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. You can dine in or call them 469-4999, and they'll have your order ready for pickup, or they will deliver to your home or your office, or you can order online at orderitalianpie.com. Eat some great food this weekend from the Original Italian Pie of Kenner. As we tell you every day, please go out and be a blessing. Change someone's life today or this weekend. And because it's the weekend, you can change multiple people's lives or your own. You can do it. You can go out and be a blessing. Change the world. Thanks for listening.
Walt Bonetti.